There are currently hundreds of deceased people in the US whose bodies are frozen in liquid nitrogen, including baseball legend Ted Williams. The hope is that future technology will be able to revive them one day. While this could possibly work, cryogenic freezing has proven to be a terribly risky operation. In one instance, the Cryonics Society of California ran out of money and couldn't keep their customers frozen, so the bodies began to thaw and decompose. Some of the bodies even went missing, and to this day, their families still don't know what happened to them. The loudest sound ever heard on Earth was the eruption of Krakatoa in 1883. The explosion had a nuclear yield 13,000 times greater than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It ruptured the eardrums of sailors 40 miles away, and people as far as 3,000 miles away reported hearing it as a distant roar of heavy guns. To put that into perspective, it would be like sitting in Boston and hearing a sound that came all the way from Ireland. It was one of the most destructive volcanic eruptions in history, since at least 35,000 people died and the global temperature was lowered by 2 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 years. These are the stomach contents of a psychiatric patient who died with pica disorder. It is a disease characterized by a heightened appetite for inedible objects. Oftentimes, patients with pica disorder would be permanently placed in completely empty rooms without any of their clothes. Otherwise, they would eat them. Mount Everest has hundreds of bodies of dead climbers on it, which now serve as trail markers to the top. It is considered the world's largest open-air graveyard. Some were lucky enough to die in their sleep, while others suffered injuries from falls and slowly died to hypothermia. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was shot in West Germany in 1970. Producers for the film had a hard time finding little people to cast as Oompa Loompas, since so many of them had been killed by Nazis during the Holocaust. During the Cold War, CIA agents used a secret method of communication based on how their shoelaces were tied. In 2016, a Chinese man realized the object he had been using to cut open walnuts for 25 years was actually a live stick grenade from the Vietnam War. One of the actors in The Exorcist went on to become an actual serial killer. Paul Bateson, who plays a nurse in the film, eventually confessed to the killing and dismembering of 6 gay men in the late 1970s. He was released from prison in 2004. In 2014, a family bought a $1.3 million dream home in Westfield, New Jersey, but they never moved in because they immediately started receiving sinister, threatening letters from someone called The Watcher. He would write messages like, "All of the windows and doors allow me to watch and track you as you move through the house. Have you found what is in the walls yet? I am pleased to know your names now and the name of the young blood you have brought to me." The family has been unsuccessful in their attempts to resell the property. At age 25, a woman named Blanche Monnier had her heart set on marrying a lawyer that her mother wasn't too fond of. When she disappeared one day, most assumed that she had simply run off with him. But 25 years later, someone sent local authorities an anonymous letter saying her mother was holding her hostage. When they arrived at the home, they found Blanche bound and starving in the attic. Dying is forbidden in the town of Longyearbyen, Norway, or at least, you won't be buried there. The town's only cemetery closed over 70 years ago because it's so cold that the bodies buried there previously never decomposed. The problem is that some corpses still carry traces of the Spanish flu virus that killed up to 50 million people worldwide around 100 years ago. This girl's jaw was hanging on by a centimeter of skin after a horrific horse riding accident. The injuries sustained by Emily Eccles were the worst her surgeon had seen outside of a war zone. But reconstructive surgeon Ricardo Muhammad Ali was able to rebuild her face during a 6-hour operation. The photo on the right is her back in school just 1 month after the accident. This was a white hearse used for children's funerals back in the 1930s. A boy genius named Brendan Bremer was able to read at 18 months, graduated high school at age 10, and composed music. He tragically shot himself at age 14 to donate his organs to those in need. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the US government issued Mickey Mouse gas masks in case of a chemical attack. The incentive was to make them appear less scary to kids, but most people don't think it worked. An atomic bomb cameraman accidentally ripped off his safety goggles a few seconds before the bomb exploded. He immediately covered his eyes with his hands, and when the bomb detonated, he saw the bones of his hands through his closed eyelids just like an X-ray. When the Soviet Union was pushing towards Berlin during World War II, a Nazi SS soldier was forced to play piano for his captors. They made it clear to him in sign language that he would be executed the moment he stopped playing. He played for 22 straight hours, after which he collapsed in tears. They congratulated him, then shot him. A former intern at NASA named Thad Roberts stole $20 million worth of moon rocks to have sex on them with his girlfriend. He was only caught when he tried to sell them online to undercover FBI agents. He served 6 years in a federal prison for the crime. This is a photo of John Lennon signing an autograph for Mark David Chapman, the man who would kill him 5 hours later. 25 years following the unsolved murder of Nicole Van Den Herk, her stepbrother falsely confessed to killing her. He did this so that her body would be exhumed for DNA testing, which led to the arrest and prosecution of her true killer.